As a nutritionist and psychotherapist, I see the same diet myth ruining people's results and relationships with food again and again. Panicking about glucose spikes after eating a banana, skipping bread because carbs make you fat, obsessing with fasting because autophagy. All these rules make our life harder, and what's the worst, they distract us from what really works. So let's go through the evidence and separate myth from science. My name is Olga Onoshenko. I'm a certified nutritionist and psychotherapist. I've got a PhD from the University of Sheffield, and this is the channel that improves your mental and physical health and helps you lose weight along the way. So first, myth is that you need to micromanage your blood glucose. Blood glucose spikes are bad for you, therefore you need to control the spikes. And then everyone should keep their glucose curve as flat as possible. And for this, you need to go for a walk after a meal, to start your meals with fiber and protein, never eat carbs alone, such as banana or oatmeal. And the truth is that all this can be true if you're insulin resistant and you are on your weight loss journey to improve your biomarkers, to improve your glucose management, your insulin sensitivity, to protect yourself from diabetes. And while your body is still not in optimal condition, these tricks may be beneficial for you. Why? Because if you are insulin resistant, if your body cannot manage glucose, if your body cannot manage glucose properly, then if you're not careful with your diet, with your lifestyle, then glucose may elevate after a high carb meal or a heavy meal and stay there for very long. And while glucose is high for a prolonged period of time, many times during weeks, months, this can be really damaging. But the truth is that this micromanagement of your blood glucose, by changing the order of foods you eat, by pairing your carbs with fiber, fat or protein, by starting your meals with fiber and protein, this all does not solve the problem. What is the problem? The problem is the energy toxicity. This is when we eat more than we spend, we gain weight, we gain fat. And first, it lays down under our skin, subcutaneous fat, which is only problematic if you have certain aesthetic preferences. But once our genetic capacity to store fat under skin is depleted, we start storing fat inside our internal organs around the waistline. And this is when this fat becomes toxic. This is when extra calories that we have eaten become toxic. And this is what impairs your insulin sensitivity, your body's ability to manage blood glucose. So if you're healthy, your body will regulate your blood glucose levels very well. If you have metabolic syndrome, if you have compromised insulin sensitivity, suspicious lipid profile, elevated HbA1c, elevated fasting glucose, elevated HOMA-IR index, then of course every single banana will pose a danger for you. But not eating bananas or eating bananas with a source of protein will not solve your key problem. And key problem is energy toxicity. So in order to solve this problem, you need to lose weight. And if this is particularly problematic for you, thanks God, soon we will have GLP-1 agonists available and accessible. And so far it's not as easily available, but then can be useful. If you feel like you can lose weight by changing your lifestyle, and you're not genetically predisposed to overeating, to being extra hungry, to overactive dopamine system, then your task is to lose weight. And once you lose approximately 10% of your weight, then your body will become better at managing everything you eat. I do not say that if you're healthy, lean, then you can eat whatever, whenever. That you should eat beige diet, which means fast carbs, croissants, burgers, pizzas, a lot of bread, a lot of bad quality pasta, and so on. Balanced diet is the key. But you should, if you're healthy and your diet is more or less optimal, you should not worry about your blood glucose fluctuations. If you're not healthy and your body does not manage fats and carbs well, then your task is not to micromanage your blood glucose, as glucose goddess suggests, but to deal with energy toxicity. What's the danger of micromanaging your blood glucose, monitoring your glucose all the time, unless you're diabetic, type 1, type 2? The danger is that first, you may misinterpret results, and even scientists and dietitians sometimes cannot interpret your results well enough. So you'll be anxious about every spike, so this will add to food anxiety and may fuel your disordered eating if you have one. There will be low enjoyment. It will push you into lower carb dieting, and lower carb dieting is not good to everyone. If you are a lean, healthy woman, premenopausal, active, and you start cutting down carbs to keep your glucose curve as flat as possible, you may damage your hormones, your hormonal system, your reproductive hormones. You may start eating less fiber. You may miss out on important nutrients if you start avoiding anything that mildly spikes your blood glucose. And then there is a risk of eating more than you need. For example, I cannot eat banana in isolation. I need to eat it with Greek yogurt. You are ending up eating more. And our task is to eat less in order to lose weight. If you have energy toxicity, if you have extra weight that influences your metabolism. And most importantly, this glucose micromanagement distracts you from what matters. And I have already told you what really matters. So healthy fat percent, healthy weight, managing your stress and sleep, because stress and lack of sleep impact your blood sugar regulation negatively. We all know the research that showed that even 5 days of compromised sleep shifted healthy individuals into pre-diabetic state. When scientists measured how these people manage blood glucose, how their bodies regulate blood glucose. And to reduce stress and solve problems of sleep, what do you need? Psychotherapy. Next, what matters? Healthy muscle tissue, because muscle acts as depot, as a storage for extra glucose. The more muscle we have, the more glycogen we can store in our muscles. What is glycogen? This is how we store blood glucose for later. So we eat carbs or any other foods. So we eat carbs, blood glucose rises in our blood, and we either spend it for energy, burn it for energy, or we store it as glycogen in our muscles and liver. And the more muscles we have, the more room we have for this storage. So the better our metabolism is. Muscles is our metabolic organ. So resistance training is super important. And not only resistance training, just using your muscles, making them contract while standing up, walking around, moving, doing your cardio. This all makes our muscles work and absorb unnecessary glucose in our bloodstream. Next, what's important? Balanced diet. Not low carb diet, but healthy, balanced diet and avoiding overeating. You do not need any acrobatics with your nutrition. There is no secret beyond guidelines. Healthy guidelines, healthy plate, healthy balanced plate approach. The trick is to stick to it, right? It's not a problem. We all know how to eat right. The problem is normally to stick to it. What to do when you are offered a very tasty meal? What to do if you have chocolate in your cupboard and you're stressed and you're going for chocolate to release your stress? This is what we should focus on, and not micromanaging blood glucose. We need to learn to manage emotions without food and not blame it on a rapid loss, a rapid drop of blood glucose and causing you craving sugar. No, this is not causes you craving sugar. It's not being able to regulate your emotions without food causes you craving sugar or imbalanced diets. Second myth, carbs make you fat. I don't know why it still exists. Please look at the picture. So what's the myth? When we eat carbs, our blood glucose elevates. In order to regulate it, insulin releases from pancreas. And when our insulin is released and its level in our bloodstream is high, we are not burning fat. Therefore, insulin has a reputation of fat storage hormone. And if we eat carbs, then we do not burn fat, we cannot lose weight. This is rubbish. Please look at this graph. You can see green areas and blue areas. Every time we eat, insulin rises. Then we do not eat for a while, food digests, insulin goes down, and we have a moment of fasting. This is blue area under the curve. Then we eat again and insulin rises again. And this is where we have insulin stimulated fat formation. Then time passes and food is metabolized and we are again in fasting state. And in this fasting state, we are losing fat while our insulin is low. Then we're eating again and insulin rises again, and then you can see big blue area. If we do not eat too much at night, we have quite a big blue area of fat burning. It shouldn't necessarily be at night, it can be during the day. It depends on how many calories we have eaten during the day. It doesn't depend on how much carbs we have eaten during the day, but calories. So if we are in calorie deficit, if we've eaten less than we've burned, our blue area will be bigger than our green area and we will be losing fat. So net result will be fat loss. So during the day we can multiple times accumulate fat and then lose fat, accumulate and lose. Our task is to create energy deficit so that fat loss will be higher than fat accumulation. And by the way, one of the last nails into coffin of insulin obesity theory is GLP-1 agonists. They help our body to release insulin in response to released glucose in our bloodstream. So these drugs that help millions of people lose weight help these people to release more insulin. Cognitive dissonance was the danger of insulin theory of obesity. Unnecessary fear of food groups. Distraction from what matters. What matters is exercise, calorie deficit, management of emotions without food, balanced diet, not eating when not hungry. So instead of fearing carbs, watch your diet to be balanced, have enough fiber, 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories of your diet, of your total daily calorie intake, enough protein, minimum 1.2 grams of protein per your ideal body weight, enough fat, no less than 10-15% of your total calorie intake. And with carbs, well, That's highly individual, that depends on your activity levels. But you don't need to cut them down, you don't need to fear them, even if you're insulin resistant. It's more about quality of carbs in this case, and again, your general lifestyle. Third myth, intermittent fasting is superior to calorie restriction. Intermittent fasting helps us to achieve autophagy, which is sort of cleaning your cells from garbage, making your cells younger, healthier, better functioning, which helps with longevity. Autophagy only proven in rats and worms. It's not proven in people yet, in humans. This is first. Second, there is no research that shows that intermittent fasting is any better than calorie restriction. So you can eat regularly without fasting during the day and say eat 1500 calories. For me, it will be a huge calorie deficit. It's very little food. If I eat 2 meals at 8 p.m., at 8 a.m. and then 4 p.m. and then fast for the rest of the day, but I eat the same 1500 calories, there will be no difference for me in terms of health benefits, especially, of course, if I have extra weight. Talking about lean, active, premenopausal women who try to fast intermittently, this cannot be really good for their hormones and cycle. If your nervous system is very sensitive and you suffer from high stress and you are lean, you need to be really careful with intermittent fasting. So some women tolerate it well, but lean, active women who do not want to damage their hormones, be careful, be careful. There is no research yet that shows that intermittent fasting is bad for healthy, lean, active women, but based on what we already know, it's better to be safe than sorry. If you have extra weight, you have more room for experimenting with fasting. What's good about intermittent fasting? It can set you clear rules. When I start eating, when I stop eating, and this can help you eat less. And eating less and getting into calorie deficit, this is what really matters. This is what is really therapeutic, is really cure it all if you have extra weight. So there is no benefits to fasting beyond calorie restriction. If you want to restrict your calories, you don't need to fast. Think about what's the most convenient to you. Sometimes intermittent fasting helps you decrease calories, but sometimes it doesn't fit into your daily life. It can just be inconvenient. And trying to fast unnecessarily just makes your life harder. Why making your life harder if you can use other instruments to create calorie deficit? And then if you are inclined to disordered eating, intermittent fasting can help you to regulate your eating. But this is not the best way to regulate. The best way is to start working with your emotions, to learn self-regulation, not to rely on fasting. Like after 4 p.m., that's it, I'm not eating. But to rely on your self-regulation skills. So if I have a tendency to eat when I'm not hungry, to eat extra food, it's better to limit yourself not with fasting, but to learn to manage your behavior, your emotions, your thoughts, so that you do not have to escape from your emotions or discomfort or activated state of nervous system into the fridge. I know that for many people, intermittent fasting works in this case. But the question is how long? Sooner or later, people slip off, and it's much more sustainable to actually work with your self-regulation skills without eating food, or with eating food in moderation. I'm talking a lot, I think, in this channel about self-regulation without food. But if you want to know more, if you have any questions, please ask in comments under this video, whatever is interesting to you. And about this topic, and I will film a video about it. Okay, I think this video is getting too long. I will continue in the next video. Subscribe to this channel in order not to miss it. In the next video, we will talk about whether crash diets are dangerous or actually beneficial for you. And then we'll talk about flexible dieting versus rigid dieting. Which one is better? Is flexible diet cure at all? And whether Ozempic means quitting and easy way. Please check useful links below, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.